And we're live. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, fancy meeting you here.
Right,
Hey, everyone.
I agree.
Saturday morning. Sometimes I wonder, I'm over by myself going, let's get this show on the road. Come on there.
Right.
Uh,
I need some more of this.
yeah, do you? I know. It's a bright, sunny day here in Oklahoma City. And a little look outside. We've got 88 degrees already.
Whoa.
It's going to be a scorcher today. So it's going to be apparently like Vegas heat. We're going to get like 110 degrees out there.
Nice.
So we're all going to spontaneously combust. So.
That I don't mind, as long as there's no humidity.
You don't mind spontaneously combusting?
No, I don't.
I have a bone to pick with that idea.
Okay, that I care about,
But yeah, so so we're gonna no interview today. A lot of times we'll have an insider interview where we pick somebody behind the scenes. We kind of lift the curtain, let you know what's going to happen, in the world of real estate as far as how things really work.
Right.
That way you feel more comfortable with the process. You're more
Absolutely.
educated going into either looking for a home, selling a home, even if you're trying to rent, whatever it may be
Right.
in this world. So we always try to give you the best information that we can provide for you. Today, we're going to shift a little different focus, and as basically going to be is what is the value of a realtor? That's kind of important.
sure.
Because the issue is, do you really need one in the world that we're in today with artificial intelligence, automated integration? A lot of stuff can be done behind the scenes. There's how-to guides. I mean, do you even really need a realtor at all to help you through the process? And we're going to outline what that answer is and why. And it's actually pretty important, so you don't want to miss it. Real quick, though, let's take a look at the market conditions. You're going to talk about this here. This is your favorite area.
Whoa, okay.
And I'm going to let you get a bear of bad news.
All right. So they closed on Friday at 7.37%.
Yes,
30-year fix.
they've been holding like in the lower sevens
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have.
You know, we did a live broadcast about all this.
Yeah.
How they've been kind of teetering around the 7% mark, and a lot of the positive people in the industry that we follow are giving a lot of reasons as to why we shouldn't get too far above 7, and then eventually we'll correct,
Yes.
and then we'll go back down into hopefully 5.9 by like the summer of next year.
Yeah.
And we ran the numbers here, and one of the broadcasts to show what the differences in interest rates between trying to purchase a home. You know, I think we used 350,000 as an
I
example.
think so, yeah.
And we did like at a 6% interest rate versus a 6.5 versus a 7 to see how much difference there was in monthly payments.
Right.
And when you're at the quarter to half inch percentage, there's really no significant difference at all.
Right.
And even the 1%, it depends what your goal is. But we're going to talk about that in part of our topic for today. Real quick though, how's the market looking here in Oklahoma City compared to the last few days? This is going over a 7-day period here.
Okay, so for Oklahoma City, we have 251 new listings that came on market within the last week. It's not bad. It's actually quite a bit. Pending sold, so contracts were written on them, 254, and actual sold listings were 207. So again, we have more contracts being written and more homes being sold compared to what's on market.
So this is the time of the year where we should start to drop off on home sales because now kids are back to school. So the moving, for that process is kind of coming to an end. So we're going to get a little bit of a shift in the availability of what's out there when it comes to this environment.
Right.
All right. Well, let's get on with it, shall we?
I think we should.
Okay. This is our value of a realtor discussion.
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to deciding, again, do you even need a realtor? What is their value? In other words, they're getting paid a commission. So as realtors, we do get paid a commission on the property sale. Should we or do we earn that money? Or is it just a waste? In other words, is it something, you know what, I'm going to save that money, I'm going to sell it myself, or I'm going to buy a home myself. You guys really aren't going to help me out.
Right.
If that process comes into your mind, it's a logical one because you obviously want to save money wherever you can, but is that the best play? So let's talk about it. Let's go into market knowledge.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously we have market knowledge, Team Tuttle. We have market knowledge as to what's happening with the trends, the neighborhoods out there, property value. We know about property values. We run our numbers behind the scene here, what they called current market analysis. CMAs for short. I'm sure you might have heard that acronym. We also monitor a lot of national markets, and then of course our local MLS, multiple listing service stats as well.
Right. So what we want to do is keep a finger on the pulse of the whole
Yes.
nation as a whole to see where the industry's moving, where the space is going, all the
Right.
players, and then we bring that back down to a local level so that whenever you ask us questions, boy, how's the interest rates going? We have an answer to that. Or
That's right.
what do experts say it's going to do? We have an answer for that.
That's right.
How's Oklahoma health-wise in the market compared
Yes.
to other areas? We
And
have an
we
answer.
know that as well.
So
that's right.
It takes a lot of it takes a lot of time to learn all of that and then be relatable and to have perspective. So that's why we do that. For
But you need to stay informed.
Yeah. So that's part of this. The whole market knowledge itself is a broad picture, and then not only just the narrow local picture, which we're talking about.
That's right. So again, that goes down to knowing what's on market. So inventory, what's being sold within the market as well. Again, interest rate knowledge. We sort of
Yeah.
touched on that. And we follow a lot of top industry leaders.
Yeah.
Within.
One of them gave Jodi a shout out.
Yeah.
That's right. On his live broadcast, he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Jodi from Oklahoma City." He's like, "I am more and more impressed with the health of the Oklahoma City market
Yes.
across the rest of the country, based off the interaction and
That's
and
right.
the numbers that you give him and what's going on here locally." Because at first he didn't think anything about Oklahoma City. It was not even
No.
a thought in his mind
Well, they
because they focus on the big
They
cities.
focus on the big cities, so
Yeah.
they focus on like Texas and Florida and California and
Yeah.
New York
A
and
lot of East Coast, West Coast stuff.
Yes.
They don't have a whole lot of those of us in the middle.
that's right.
But once he started hearing our numbers for how much of a home you can buy, he's like, "Holy moly, you can live like a king out there in Oklahoma City."
Yeah, we have affordable housing.
for the prices that you would pay in these other markets, where
Yes.
you could pay a lot more and get a whole lot less. So, anyway, so we keep in touch with these top industry
right.
leaders so that we're always in the know, because I don't want the blind leading the blind ever. So that's the deal there. All right, let's go to the next category.
Okay, so another thing we do is we're pricing experts. We have a lot of pricing expertise, and we have all that because we've got all the training behind us, right? Team Tuttle, we're continually learning, going to courses, reading online. So the value of a property. Again, we have the tools at our fingertips that we can use. Considering factors like location and condition.
Yeah.
Condition of the home, where's the home located, and then of course we're going to bring up comparable sales. Again, that all has to stem into the current market analysis that we're going to do, which again is the CMA.
And it's trust me, it's cute, and I do mean the word cute, when your neighbor says, "Oh, you should sell your house for this."
Right.
That is not the way it works. You'd say, "Hey, thank you for your input.
Yeah.
I appreciate you looking out for me. I am going to defer to the professional who actually knows what this is actually valued at."
Right.
Because what happens is, if you don't listen to the experts, you
Yes.
end up in a situation where you have overpriced and overvalued what you have, and we all like to do that. It's
Sure.
a human element, but then
It's pride of ownership.
pride of ownership. But then that causes a negative feedback loop, which means you've overpriced yourself out of the market. Now no one is interested, and then it sits. And the longer it sits, people start going, "What's wrong with that house?"
Less desirable it becomes.
And all of a sudden, you know how people are. Well, I heard this and I heard that, and all of a sudden, no one wants your house anymore. And it may have been just fine. The only issue is you were just a little on the greedy side, and that's what caused it. So that is why it's very important that a realtor is involved, so you can get the proper market analysis on what it actually is worth. Not only from the comparables, which means other properties similar state, but also on the lending side when they do the appraisals.
Right.
Because otherwise, you could overprice your home out of even in the appraisal category. The bank's looking at you, going, "Are you crazy? Who told you your house is worth this much?"
Well, the market dictates what your home is going to sell for.
Yeah.
So, and we come prepared with what the market is telling us. And by market, we mean similar homes matching your home that you want to list.
Yeah. So that just kind of ties in the fact we want to make sure you're at a competitive rate,
Yeah.
a competitive price, and that the buyers make informed offers.
That's right.
Okay, so there's a tie-in to this when it comes
Yeah.
to. Okay, so there's two things here. So one is that's part of it. if you try to do it yourself and you're thinking, you know what, I got this. I
Yes.
won't put it the max that I think it's worth. You know, I'll go look at Zillow and I'll just put a number down. But I'm going to go a little lower. That way I know I'm going to get a sale. There's an issue when you undervalue your property and when you try to do it yourself. And it's weird. I don't know. It puts like a cloud in the process. And maybe fair or not fair, it's a weird place you end up being with a lot of bargain shoppers, a lot of bargain hunters. Like, oh, you're a DIY sell by owner. I can offer you whatever I want, a lot lower, and you'll take it because I can tell you're desperate. You know, you want to save money. You don't want to hire a realtor. I don't know. They'll make up anything in their head, and so what happens is you end up getting a lot of let's just say nuisance offers that take up your time, because now you're going to have to go show that property to people who had no intention of actually giving you the value that you really thought you had for the house. And that's a whole nother topic we're going to dive into on for sale by owners. But that's just a little sneak peek of a future topic. There's a mess with that situation. I had a friend do it across the street from me. He kicked himself for it, and we can talk about that. But the other issue is, remember, we're talking about the value of a realtor.
Right.
Also, it's in picking the right realtor. You know, we're not going to sit here and knock other realtors because that's not proper, but we can tell you is what's ethical, what's moral, what's right, and how we view things based off of our morals and the way we want to treat people. So in the real estate world, and this is the Wizard of Oz time. I want you to, this is the dirty part. Okay. All right. You obviously, for your job, you want to put food on the table. All right. A realtor's no different. However, there are some realtors motivated by money, because sometimes you can make money fast if the market's right in this industry. Right. So a lot of them have, let's just say they have over-accumulated objects that require a large amount of money to pay per month. And so they are now more motivated by personal debt to close your deal and get you into a home faster and forced. In other words, they are not in a position to where if you were looking for a house and you didn't want to buy this one because it wasn't a good fit for you, that, you know, that realtor can wait. Oh, no problem. We can wait a month, a week, a year, you know, whatever long it takes for you to get in that house. If there is a realtor, and this is the red flag.
Yes.
And that is pushy realtor, right?
A pushy one.
So tell them what a pushy realtor would be.
You're in there, you're showing a house to your clients, and they're not really feeling it, but you're thinking, nope, this is the right house for you. This is the one. You should put an offer in on it. And they're sort of pushing you into writing that offer.
Right.
Or, again, on the other side, you've already written an offer, and you get a counter offer. And they want to just close the offer. They want to just close it, saying, no, you should really, it's a good deal. Just take it. So they're not really looking out for your best interest.
So what it means when they're closing the offer, they're getting the big deal, is you lose out on money. So because they are so desperate to make that car payment, you know, or that housing payment, or the second home that they bought in the Poconos, I don't know, whatever it is, they're saying, you know what? Let's go ahead and close on this today. You know what? I know there's some other offers coming in, but they're not going to be good, or you're not going to get any new offers. And let's just go ahead and done the deal. If you are forced or pushed to make any decision, that is a huge red flag, and you've got yourself a bad realtor. So that is one of the unfortunate things behind, but that's human nature, right? You are going to come across greedy people. You're going to come across people that do not have great financial decisions, that are desperate.
That's right.
It happens in the realtor world. So again, a red flag to watch for. And you know what? When you're interviewing your realtor, come out and ask them. I would. I say, hey, how's your financial situation as a realtor? Are you able to make your monthly payments, or you feel a little pressured per sale?
Well,
boy, imagine putting your realtor on the spot for that question.
So there's another way to ask that question.
I'm direct. I'm like, get right in their business.
No. So I know sometimes when I've gone for interviews, for listing interviews, they've asked me, okay, how many listings do you have out there right now? How many properties have you sold? So they want to know your numbers. Mentally, you can calculate. If you're one of these agents that, okay, now you're down in here needing to make that sale and you're getting desperate, Or are you more like this, where you've got a steady stream of revenue?
See, but we're going to disagree here.
Okay.
Yeah, because here's the deal. A lot of realtors will have two jobs because sometimes real estate is part-time. And the why? Because of the market. The market that we're in now is very slow. So a lot of realtors
Right.
can't sustain putting food on the table, paying the mortgage, paying the car payment in this environment. And that's the cold, hard truth. And that's
Sure.
horrible.
Yeah.
So we've experienced that in the last year into this business. Luckily, I have two other jobs. So I can still put food on the table and pay the mortgage.
gosh.
Thank goodness we're in that position. So we are not in that position of forcing you to make a deal. We had clients that took 6 months to find the perfect home that fit for them. We didn't force them each month or each week or each
No.
house to say, hey, you got to make a decision.
We're
because
patient.
we didn't have to. We're patient. So,
That's right.
and we still drive old cars. Mine's a 2009 and yours a 2011. Paid off years ago. And so we don't do anything fancy. We just live within our means. But yeah, so we're not forced in that spot. But I do believe that when you are interviewing your realtor, those are fair questions to ask. Why? Because guess what? They're getting into your finances. Why can't you get into theirs? That's my philosophy. You want to find out who you're working with. You want to find out how moral they are, how legitimate they are, what kind of person they are. I mean, if they get you're getting a little deep into my business, guess what? Get you another realtor. They weren't worth it. But see, that's my opinion. It may differ from hers. We can see things differently. That's okay. But the bottom line is you want them to work for you always.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I mean, you need to have a good rapport with one another. You need to build that relationship up. So
Oh yeah, I mean,
we're going to get into that later on.
yeah. Let's go to the next thing.
So negotiation skills. We are key negotiators.
That's right. Remember,
Right?
you want value. What am I paying for? What am I getting in return?
Right. So Team Tuttle Realty, we advocate for our buyers and we advocate for our sellers. Absolutely. We want you guys to get the best price for your home and purchase that home for the best value. How do we do that? Well, we do a current market analysis. You're interested in a house. Let's see what's happening in the area. What have the other properties sold for? So that way we know you're not going in, especially if you're in a competing situation, meaning multiple offers. Let's see how high or how many, the range as to how high you should go so that you can still get your money back when you turn around to try and sell that home. You don't know what's going to happen
Right.
in 3 months, 1 month's time, 6 months' time. Whatever price you pay for that house, can you turn around and sell it in the X amount of time and still get your money back without losing? I'm a big component for that.
So the bottom line is you obviously want your value out of your home, and you want somebody to fight for you. Now, when we say fight, it's not like behind the scenes. It's World War III between realtors.
No.
Not at all.
We have good relationships with other real estate agents.
In the industry, most realtors play nice with each other.
Yeah.
There are a few that are a little, they have a history with them, and that kind of sours the pot a little bit. But at least you kind of know their reputation.
Right.
So most people, it's not a duel. May the best man win. It's a let's have
No.
both parties walk away feeling like they won.
Absolutely.
So it's even though each realtor is working on behalf of the other person, the seller and the buyer.
Yeah.
In the end, they're working together to make sure everybody's happy and everybody feels like they got the best deal.
Yes.
So that's where the negotiations come in versus someone who just lays over and goes, oh, here's my buyer. Go ahead, have your seller do whatever he wants or gets whatever he wants, and my buyer's just going to sit back and just take it. That's you don't want that. That's not negotiating. So there is this camaraderie and then this give and take.
Right.
Hence the term negotiating. So that is important. And if you don't have the expertise when it comes to the knowledge in the industry and the knowledge of the values of the properties and what the Joneses have next door and what industry says you should have. If you don't have all that stuff and you're going in blind, say you're just a buyer without representation, you go right in there and you try to negotiate yourself, it's going to be really hard to do. You're not going to know enough questions to even ask. What's wrong with the home? That goes to the treatment, repairs, and what to look for. How do you negotiate that situation? All kinds of stuff can come up. But we'll get into a little bit of that here in the next category coming up.
That's right. And that's why we give our clients, that's why we fight for our clients and feel that, because we're not forced to close a sale.
Right. Again,
We're
that
not
kind of,
in that financial situation where, we're looking for our next dollar.
yeah, that ties back into the
So-
fact of how healthy, is your realtor's finances
Right.
when they're going into this. Because if their finances aren't healthy and they're trying to force you and not giving you the best negotiated deal just because they got to get paid by, by August 22nd, that's a problem.
That's right.
Okay. Access
Okay.
to listings.
Access to listings, of course. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
most people will start their home search online, whether it be Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com.
Yep. But the information isn't typically accurate.
For Zillow, yeah.
It's because it's delayed.
It is.
It has errors, and
Yes.
you'd be surprised the errors that we see. And we would call, the realtor will call Zillow and go, you've got my property way listed wrong. You need to fix this. Okay, well, it'll take us a week to get in the database. A week? That's a week of people looking and getting the wrong idea over a property. So,
Right.
yeah, it's if you want to start there, just kind of get a general ballpark picture, that's fine. We have a search that's way more accurate on our website at teamtotalrealty.com, which pulls in from the MLS database, which is accurate and up to date. And that's a better search to get you started. And then you reach out to us and we'll give you a micro search. This is what I really like. So a micro search, I'll give you an example. You want to live on a golf course and you want to live in a certain price range and you want your house to face a certain direction. And you want X number of space between you and the next house. So we can do all these little micro search things for properties. And instead of dragging you across town to look at 50 houses, we can narrow it all the way down to 2.
Right.
There are 2 houses that fit your specific exact criteria. Let's take a look. And you can look at each one and go, bam, that's perfect. You just saved me days or weeks of looking of my time, your time. Everybody's time is valuable.
Right.
So that is a huge game changer. So the micro searches you can get when you come through us for the MLS listing, that is a game changer versus what you're going to get just online, just perusing general areas.
That's correct. Exactly. So, you touched a lot on the MLS, which was great.
Oh, but you got to talk about this part here.
Yeah, reverse prospecting for listings.
Yeah, I'm like reverse prospecting.
Yeah.
Are we talking about gold here? What are we digging for?
No, I love this feature.
Yeah.
So I've used this for every listing I've had. You go in, you have your listing. You can then go in and see the other real estate agents that have their clients set up on a home search that matches your home that we have listed. So I can reach out to those real estate agents and say, hey, my house matches your clients. Tell them more about the property. Have you seen our property? Do you want to see our property? Here's some pluses. Let's get your clients in.
Yeah.
Think it might be a good fit.
And we're going to talk about here in another category in just a minute about expanding that to even a larger audience.
Yes.
But that's kind of the internal inside audience of who's looking. So they're active.
Yes.
Most of them are probably pre-qualified. So they're going to be serious buyers, and that's really going to help to knock down the time in which your home
Yes.
has to sit on the market.
Time saver. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So yeah, time saver. That's what it really is.
That's right.
And then, of course, like I mentioned, our website, teamtotalrealty.com, but we also have an app that we'll give you that you can download to your phone. And it's like a streamlined version of that, very specific to what it is that you're going to be wanting for your search.
Very convenient, and you can do it on the go. I find a lot of our clients love the app access
Right.
versus always the emails.
Oh, yeah. That's because,
Most people are on the go.
Yeah, because a lot of times you will get an email saying, hey, a home came up matching your exact search. Is he going to make it over there?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
He just,
May have to stop the broadcast, take little Larry to the ER.
oh my gosh. No, he's fine.
All right. It's I'm going to give you a little hint. It's mating season, if you know what that means. And Larry's getting a little tired. So anyway. All right. I swear.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, buddy. Get your drink of water.
I know.
Take a
Oh my
minute.
gosh.
Okay.
Poor little dude.
So,
Okay.
Marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy. Okay, so as real estate agents, we have marketing skills that we use. professional photography, virtual tours, or drone photography. What else do we do? Open houses. Number one, open houses. I mean, some folks don't always want to have an open house, but
Now, what is an open house?
open house is Saturday, Sundays, or during, maybe on a Thursday, you can have an open house. It's only for a couple hours. And us as Team Tuttle will come into your home. We will turn on all the lights. We'll have our flags out. We have our open house signs already out. And it's already listed on MLS, multiple listing service, to show that, hey, come see this house. And we're there. We're there talking to potential purchasers.
Yeah, and all it does is just increase the visibility on your
More
property.
exposure. A lot more exposure.
So yeah, we do these marketing plans very geared
Yeah.
toward your property with the MLS listing service, and these are some of
Feature sheets.
the things that go along with it. You can also do a broker open. That's just where we end up inviting a bunch of other realtors to bring their clients to go, hey, come take a look at it if you haven't done so already. So that's an option.
Yeah.
And then here's a different one where Team Tuttle Realty can be much different than any other realtor that you're going to have at your disposal. And that would be the social media aspect
Yes.
for the market reach.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
as you know, most of you may know, my other side hustle, they call it a side hustle now, is AT's Weather. So I have a very large fan base, AT's Weather. We're getting up to close to 200,000 people that tune in to watch live broadcast, weather coverage, and all that. Well, I share my real estate cross-posting to that audience so that you will always get a very, very large exposure versus just a few people that a lot of your other realtors will be able to show you to. So
Right.
that, again, increases visibility, makes things move faster. So if you're trying to sell a home, you want the most visibility you can get, and so that's an advantage that you have within that.
Let's make your house go viral.
Yeah, let's do it. I love when posts go viral. It's crazy.
Yeah, they do.
And we've had a few. I posted a few
Yeah.
on AT's Weather, and boy, they went nuts. And
Yeah.
people start talking, they get in the comments, they're tagging all their friends and family and relatives. I mean, that's a great way to get exposure.
That's right.
Okay, so we're also part of the largest team in Oklahoma.
We are. Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
So we have a continuous lifeline. So if anything should come up that we're unsure about, we have a lot of years behind us.
And the point being is, because if you have all this, because you've got 13 years in the business, right?
I do, yeah.
But you're talking about 13 years of her times. Good grief! I don't know. I don't know. The number of agents is ridiculous. It's so far into the hundreds.
Right.
They're going to have that collective knowledge. In other words, if something has happened, they run into.
Yeah.
Oh,
Someone's going to know.
yeah, we had that. We know what to do in this case. So there's not going to be anything that's going to take us by surprise that we won't be able to have an
That's
answer
correct.
on how to deal with in the
That's right.
transaction process.
And I mean, we're also home stagers. So we'll come into your home, and I mean, I grew up with my mom being a home stager, so it's just part of my background. And we can go in there and organize and help you set the stage for your house.
Right, and honestly, the simplified version of that is declutter.
Right.
That's the bare bones simple. Let's just declutter a place to start with that.
Right.
And then let's work with the pieces that you have. But yeah,
That's
we're going to
right.
make your home look as good as we can get it
That's right.
for maximum appeal. All right, let's go to network of professionals.
Yes.
This is important too. I have met so many people, in this space from all different avenues of home ownership. It's been wild, crazy,
Yeah.
and fun. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so Team Tuttle Realty, we have a list of preferred partners that we work with, that we trust explicitly. They range from lenders to roofers, hence my t-shirt that I'm wearing today.
I know. I've got one on too. Solar Power of Oklahoma.
Solar power, yeah. Mine is Ferguson Roof Systems. Contractors, home inspectors.
Yeah, I'm actually going to show
Yeah.
you our
And they're
list.
all on our website, actually.
Yeah, it took me a minute to type it up here.
And these are just ones that we recommend.
Right. So we
Always
have
do your own due diligence.
yeah. So we have a couple lenders that we work with. American
Yeah.
Mortgage Bank is one. Home inspector Josh.
Yeah.
He does a great job. He's very thorough. We really like him. So
Yeah.
all these people we personally, have talked to, met, had lunch with, whatever.
Have worked with. Yeah.
Vetted, used ourselves. So there's a trust factor.
Right.
And we're going to get into trust factor here in a minute, how important
Right.
that is in this whole process. Home and auto insurance, man, these guys are great. Jason and Leah, they will save you so much money. They save me over $1,000 a month on my home insurance. Yeah, $1,000 bucks.
That's right.
Did you hear me? What I just said? Actually, no, take that back. Sorry. Yeah, wait a minute. How much was that? Now I'm thinking, I've forgotten about how far back it's been.
Right.
What my policy was.
Well, yours went up 45% or 40.
Yeah, it went up like 50%, and I'm trying to remember what the exact value was per month. But the amount
The
was
savings was significant.
Yeah, I mean it was like it went from $1,500 to $3,000 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not paying that, So I had to ditch the prior company, and they found me a better one with the just as good rates or the better rates and equal service.
That's
okay,
right.
title company.
Yeah.
Legacy Title of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Awesome people. Lisa,
Yes.
Chris, we had them on an interview.
Last week.
Yeah, they did great. So if you ever know anything about the title process
Right.
at all,
Deeds. Yeah.
abstract deeds, insurance, that kind of stuff, which most people will never even think
The
about.
homestead rights.
Yeah, until you get to this last step in the
That's
home
right.
buying process. Watch that interview. They will
Yeah.
make you feel much more at ease.
Movers.
Yeah, we got movers on there. Sherpa Moving. We've talked with them many times. Roofing. My boys at Ferguson Roofing. So Jamie Ferguson, man,
Yeah.
great guy, good Christian guy. He has a 5-star review. He does not have one customer that is not happy. You know how hard that is in this environment. He is the best, hands down roofer.
Yes.
They won the 405 award. I think year in, year out. They are awesome people. So I can't even speak any higher than I possibly could for Ferguson Roofing. Generators.
Generators. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there are different generator people outfits out there that can provide.
Yeah.
We can hook you up with that. Like I said, solar power. So if you
Yeah.
want to try the whole roofing
Yes.
dive in the solar industry, solar energy.
That's right.
We can hook you up with these guys. Heat and air.
Yeah.
Well, we've got it. We got a connection for you for there. Landscaping, lawn care services, pest control. Security
Security.
systems, plumbing, electrical. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we partner with a lot of these great people that are local.
That's right.
They're wonderful, so that kind of deal. So
And again, these are just guidelines that we know, we work with, we trust them, but you do your own due diligence when it comes to our partners as well.
well, yeah, I mean, if you have somebody that you know personally that you want to use, go for it. I mean, we're
That's
not
right.
forcing anybody down your throat ever. we vet people because our name's attached to it.
Absolutely.
And I don't want no funny business with my name attached to it. So, all right, let's go to
Likewise.
the guidance through the process. In other words,
Okay.
from start to finish, from whenever you're thinking about buying a home or you're thinking about selling a home, you're starting with that first thought all the way to the final closing signature on the document.
Well, because it becomes very overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's an exciting process, whether you're selling your first home or purchasing your first home. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know. And it's like you walk away. What did they say? What did I learn? What was that again? Mm-hmm. So I know we will walk you through that entire process. And we're just a text message or a phone call away if there's ever anything that you don't understand.
So the point of this, and I had alluded to this a minute ago, was
Yes.
trust. Trust is huge.
Right.
Without it, you have nothing, right?
That's
In any
right.
relationship, if you don't have trust, you don't have a relationship. It's one of
Right.
those fundamental building blocks. Mm-hmm. I don't know
He's fine.
I don't know if Larry's going to make it.
Oh, gosh.
Poor dude. Okay, so we're going to talk about trust in a little more in depth here in a second.
Yes.
And we're still tying into the guidance through the process. We alluded to that a minute ago. Being part of the largest team in Oklahoma, we have a constant lifeline to be able to find out any hiccups or issues
Right.
and how to resolve them, just in case it's something that's out of the ordinary. And everybody's like,
Absolutely.
have you ever heard of this? You know,
Yeah.
it's usually the
Someone
question.
has.
A realtor usually goes, have you ever heard of this happening? and somebody goes, I have,
Yeah.
and then they deal with it.
I like that.
So the other part is education.
Yes.
So we spend a lot of time learning all of the moving parts so that we are very knowledgeable in this entire process.
Right.
Like I said, I do not want the blind leading the blind. That's not a service to you.
No.
It's a disservice to you. And that's not right.
No.
If I don't do my job, why would I trust, why would I expect you to trust me in this whole process? So I have to work hard to make sure that I leave no stone unturned and that we at Team Tuttle Realty are providing you what we are valued at.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why we're tied into, we're morals driven, not money driven. So when it comes to motivation,
that's huge.
That's our factor. In other words, I help people for a living. My other day job is at the FAA, where I work on weather radars, which prevent plane crashes when you take off and land from airports. So my inherent design of who I am, core beliefs, is helping others in providing safety for others. So that's the way I'm built. And like I told you earlier, we drive old cars. So I'm not, we don't go out and buy the latest and greatest. I'm in a house built from years ago, and she keeps nudging me. It's time to move. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this house.
I want a pool.
Yeah, so I'm not in that mindset. I wasn't raised that way. So we're different in that. So that's going to be, we're more on the moral-based approach to helping you versus maybe some of the other realtors out there. And to me, that's a better way of doing this whole guidance through the process, because that builds the trust, right?
Yes.
How are you going to have trust in someone if they're motivated by greed? You're not. It's not possible.
And that shines through. Believe it or not, that personality of that person comes through.
Yeah, you should be able to pick up on it.
Yeah, the pushiness.
Yeah, the salesman. I'm not a salesman, even though this is kind of a salesman industry. I hate that term because I don't feel like a salesman.
We're relational.
We're relational. We're your neighbor. Providing a service to help you to get your dream home, right?
That's right.
Okay, so education, educating you along the way in this whole process obviously is very important.
Yes.
It can be very overwhelming, like you mentioned. There's so many components to buying a home or selling a home, and most people have no clue. I didn't when I did my home. I'm trusting whoever I signed up. Out of the blue.
Yeah.
Pick a spot, pick a phone number out of the phone book, whatever it was I did back then. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, but I'm trusting you to guide me. Well, that's dangerous.
Well, yeah.
So, and part of this guidance process, how we're different.
Oh, the pros and the cons.
Yeah. I was
Right.
like, are you still with me?
I am.
Am I doing all the talking here?
No. Is it my turn now?
Yeah. I'm like, hello, get in there.
Yeah, the pros and the cons. So, you walk into a home, you can obviously see all the positives about that property. Aaron and I will come into that home and we're going to point out, okay, let's look at that, the cracks, or let's look at the windowsills to see if there's any water leaking, or is there a seal broken on that window? Are the doors closing properly? Do you have, what's the flow like of the water? Toilets flushing? Is there leakage under the sinks?
Right.
So we're going to go in there and look at the cons or the negatives of the property.
Right.
Not just all the positives.
Yeah.
Positives are quite noticeable. I would like to point out, if you wanted white cabinets. Okay, well, we found you the house that has white cabinets, or you're after stainless steel appliances. Those are all gimmies.
Well, yeah, so the deal is, if you have a realtor that only tells you the pros when you walk in, oh, this house is great. Look at the view. Look at the ceilings. Well, duh, I can see that.
Yeah.
If they don't look and mention, you guys mentioned that you have a large family and you like to sit down for dinner. This little breakfast dinner nook is pretty small.
Right.
You maybe only get a table of 4.
Right.
If they don't think on your behalf and look for things on your behalf,
Right.
you've got a bad realtor. They're not in it to help you; they're in it to help themselves, and that's another red flag. But it is a weird place, because we don't want to sit there and give you a negative view of the home that you might think is perfect, right? So it is a trade-off. We It's a delicate balance in how we present that information. Say,
True.
hey, just be advised, the table here may not be very large. So if you guys want to put in extra seats, we may have to move the dining table over here. So it's a way of pointing out a
Right.
con, but doing it in a way where we're not poo-pooing, on,
Yeah.
on what you may think is the best home ever.
Yeah.
Because what we see may not bother you.
Well, we just want you to think about it.
Yeah, but we just want to make sure you're aware, because
Yes.
we're not doing our job if we don't make you at least aware of what we see.
That's right.
And if it doesn't bother you, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
If it does bother you, you're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I didn't even think about that. I was so busy looking at the color on the wall
Right.
that I forgot all about that. I got a family of 9 to feed here at a dinner table with no room.
Right.
So those kind of things are important. All right,
That's
let's
right.
go to
Agreed.
being. We talked about this earlier, and that was about being patient. And you're very patient.
Yeah, I am very patient. It doesn't matter how long it takes to find a home. You want to see 3 homes, you want to throw another one in there along the route, no problem. If I can get us in to see that showing, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
I've worked with many buyers that just were taking their time, and understandable. That's such a huge purchase.
Yeah, if you're going to
That you're
spend
making, it's like you
a
can't
quarter or
rush.
$500,000 on something, you want to take your time doing
Yes.
it. It's not like you go to Vegas, plop it all down on black, and say spin the wheel.
Yeah.
and it's gone like that. No.
Right.
This is
very
big,
rare.
This is big decision time.
Yes, and I mean, in all my years, have I had that happen? I've shown one house and they've just fallen in love with it and they didn't want to look at it anymore. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that ideal for those folks? Yes. Have I also spent a year showing homes? Yes, I have. So, time frame does not matter to me.
Okay, emotional buffer.
Yes.
And people are like, emotional buffer?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Are you calling me emotional? I'm like, as a matter of fact, I am. You're going to be very emotional during this process. You can't help it.
Yes, you will. Absolutely. If you're competing on offers, meaning you like this home, there's other agents that have, other realtors that have clients that also like this home, and you're like, this is the house. We write an offer, but we're not, necessarily successful. You're getting emotional. You get upset, you get sad, and then we're just like, okay, well, that house just wasn't the right one for you. Let's move on.
Yeah, or it's a situation where you're in that negotiation period,
Yes.
and you kind of get a little heated because Joe Blow over here, he didn't come down his price because he's got this wrong with the house, and you're steadfast. Nope. That's a deal breaker for me, and you start getting worked up.
Yeah.
So we're like the peacemakers to try to get everybody to calm
That's
their
right.
heads again and come back down to a logical, nice, decision and get through the process. So
That's right.
hence the emotional buffer part. Okay, so the other thing that a good realtor does and the value they bring is pre-qualified buyers. You're like, what does that even mean? What it means is we don't waste your time. What is the example of wasting your time? Ring, ring. Hey, we'd like to have a showing at your house. Showing meaning people, strangers, come in to look at your home to want to buy it. But they're not really serious. We just want to kick you out of your house for about an hour so that they can just snoop around and poke around and see what the Joneses are doing.
That's right.
All right? That would be a non-qualified buyer. So we don't want...
Well, we ask the questions.
Yeah, we don't want that. We want to make sure that we bring people who can actually afford and want to buy the home to come and take a look at it. We don't want to have just any Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street just so that they can just get access to your home. That's not going to happen.
That's right. Well, that also provides the security
Yeah,
aspect.
that goes in the next part of it.
Security aspect. Meaning, we are pre-qualifying people that come through. Even when we're hosting an open house at your home, you are trusting us with your home for those 2 hours. So random folks come in because they've seen the signs. They've seen all the advertising, all the social media part of it. So they want to come in and take a look. Okay, so it's up to us to pre-qualify all those folks and know that they're safe people while they're inside your house.
Well, that's the other thing is we're like babysitters, right? But for adults. Sometimes the kids are there. So I guess technically we could be babysitters for the kids. But we have to keep an eye on all of these potential client buyers.
That's right.
You know, they're clients for ours, buyers for you. When you're selling your home, we have to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're not doing anything that is a little, let's just say, illegal or mischievous, right? So we are your buffer, the security buffer. So think of us as your nanny cam in real time, walking around going,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
watching you.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You didn't look in that drawer, did you? You know, no.
gosh.
You know,
Right.
so we're the gatekeepers, the guardians of your home for that half hour or
That's right.
15-minute visit where you have total strangers in your home. Again, that goes back to a trust factor, goes back to safety. Again, it goes back to the value of a realtor. Let's go to our last category so we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
That's experience and expertise.
Yes. Well, you've already mentioned our experience, 13 years, plus being connected with the largest Oklahoma City brokerage. We have a lot of folks behind us.
So, Team Tuttle Realty, and I speak on the third person because it sounds weird, but
Yeah.
that's that because otherwise I can just say, hey, you and me. So
Right.
I want to say who we are.
That's right.
We want to make sure you're informed. We want to make sure that you're safe.
Yeah.
That you're supported every step of the way.
Right.
That is what our goal is. That is what we do for you. So
Yeah.
again, that ties into why you would even want us to represent you in this process, either on the selling your home or on the looking to buy that perfect home for you.
That's right.
But your safety and success is our top priority.
Yes.
And again, that goes into the way we're structured morally, how we think, our position in this space, how we're not money driven and how we don't need to make a sale or need to make this happen. We're not forced that way. So we are the laid back, easygoing, let's make it happen for you.
That's right.
So that goes into trust and transparency. So on the expertise and experience side, that is very important as well. We need to have that trust relationship built.
Yes.
You need to trust me. I have had let's just say, man, we're going back 13 years in this space, in this market of Oklahoma, of trust, where I have helped people day in and day out when it comes to saving their own life and life of their family. That is huge. And that is a big burden.
It is. That's for sure it is. And you do a great job with it. You do a really great job. So, yeah. So having said that, we've also got the community connections, again, by using all of our social media, but most importantly, AT's weather. So we have maximum exposure.
Right. So it kind of goes in, we can call it branding, but
Right.
it just goes in the fact of how big is your reach,
Yes.
as
It's
a
huge.
real estate outfit to get your property exposed.
That's right.
To get it to go viral, to get as many eyeballs on as possible because it sells as fast as possible.
So we can leverage your social media
Correct.
to the fullest potential. Let's go viral, as I said earlier.
That's right.
And again, it's a personal touch. You're not just a transaction to us.
Oh, yeah.
You become friends, really, when the whole because we spend so much time together and we know so much about you. You get to know stuff about us as well throughout the process. So we have that bonding, I find.
And then finally, we just want to make sure that you have all the information that you need
Yes.
to make the best informed decision that you can.
Yeah.
And that's really the bottom line. So
Yeah.
you could summarize this. We've been talking about this about 45 minutes, but
Yeah.
really the bottom line is you want information, all the information you can possibly get. You want to be guided through the process so
Yes.
that you feel safe. And you want to trust your realtor to do the right
Yes.
thing,
Yeah.
not only for themselves, but also for you. And then you want the maximum amount of reach that you can get
Right.
if you're on the selling side. And you want the most hyper local forecast if you're on the buy forecast. I'm talking weather. The most hyper local view you can get on the buyer
Right.
side to narrow down exactly what it is that you want versus wasting a lot of time looking things that you know is not going to
That's
fit
right.
your criteria.
And us at Team Tuttle can do all that for you
Yeah.
and more.
We can. So that's it. I mean,
This is good.
this was a good one. I got a little emotional there at the end.
Well, because you do help people. You save people's lives. And that's huge. So it's good. Because you're selfless. And yeah. So,
All right. That's it for this episode. If again, we always kind of in this, if there is someone that you know that would benefit from talking with us, reach out, tell them to reach out, tag them in the comments, have them send us a DM, call the phone number on the screen, hit the website, send us an email. If you just want to kind of take a look at some homes, kind of get an idea, because let's put it this way. Actually, there was two things I'll mention before we leave. Very important. One is, where are you at today and where do you want to be tomorrow? In other words, how are you envisioning your next step
right.
when it comes to a home? Are you outgrowing your current one? Are you in that early thinking process? That early thinking process may be a year from now when you think it's finally going to finish. It may be 6 months.
Right.
Doesn't matter. What you want to do is reach out to us once you start to have those thoughts, because we can get you in line already right out of the gate.
Yeah.
That's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of grief. We'll make sure that your credit is on track. That may be future purchases that you have. We can give you timelines as to when to wrap those up. So all that stuff can be done in the planning stages early on, which will take out all the stress and anxiety out of the early start of the whole process. So that's step one. The other thing I want to mention before we go is this is very important. In this market, yes, it's a little crazy. We talked about the part of the broadcast, 7%. It is a shock, right? And this is the cold hard truth. You're not going to want to hear this. Don't shoot the messenger. The 2 to 3% interest days are gone. This is where I get tough love. You ready? Get over it. They ain't coming back.
Right.
If they do come back, it's not going to be for a while. And if they do come back, you know what that means. It's not good for anyone.
Right.
The entire economy shut down to zero. That was a last-ditch effort for the Fed to keep the USA from crashing. When you shut down work and nobody's moving, that was to prevent that from catastrophically happening. So it was an artificial rate that hopefully doesn't happen again, only because of what that really means.
Right.
So the interest rates are higher, but they're back on par where they kind of should be. Going back historically speaking, so they're about where they're at now. The flip side of that is that the home prices have increased.
Yes.
Now you're thinking, well, I know that's terrible. Well, I want you to put the cup is half full and say that's great. Yes. Why is that great? Because on every 10-year climb from decade to decade to decade to decade, guess what those home values rise over that 10-year period? 40%. So if I were to come up to you, hand you $100 bill, and then say, hold on to that, because in 10 years' time, it's going to be worth, $140 or whatever. And you're going to be like, well, that's the easiest money I ever did. All I did was just put it under my mattress, and there it was, right? So you had a 40% increase. So your home value, if it's $200,000 home, all of a sudden now you're looking at a $350,000, whatever it's going to be.
Right.
That number is going to go up substantially. So keep that in mind going forward, that yes, it is something that you live in, but it's technically a quiet investment that you don't pay attention to. Like you use the term equity.
Equity.
You love equity.
That's right.
And equity can be used as a leverage for a bad decision, meaning financial decision is you bought something you shouldn't have, or
credit card debt,
or you got in a pickle. Right. So, I did make a good decision, but then I lost my job, or the kids decided to go to college, or whatever you could not foresee. Bam! Now you have equity to help offset what life threw your way. That's huge.
Oh yeah.
That you can always take out at any time. We're going to caution you on, and this is interesting because you're going to hear. You may have already heard this. How many times, or maybe have you heard in this space, a realtor say, well, don't worry, you can buy today and refinance when rates go down next year or next month or whatever.
Right.
All right, here's a problem with that. And because I can see it two ways. Yes, in theory, rates will probably go down a little. We talked about it in our broadcast a few times ago that the experts think they may go down around 5.9 by the middle of next year. Right. But let's say they don't. Here's the problem. I come to you and I say, listen, you can barely afford this house that you're going to buy, but next year you can refinance at a lower interest rate, and all of a sudden now it can be affordable. What happens next year when the rates don't go down?
Right.
One, my name is a bad name in your mouth.
Right.
Two, you may not be living in that home anymore because you can't afford it.
Right.
So that is a red flag for any realtor that tries to get you into a home that you're already going to be struggling to afford.
Right.
So the bottom line is, this is a better way of looking at it.
Yep.
A more logical way of looking at it. If you're out there on the fence and you're thinking all that kind of stuff, only get into a home today with what you can afford to pay per month today.
That's right.
So, for example, if you've done your home budget and you've got everything taken into an account, and you've got $2,000 left to play with sitting there, you can afford a home with a mortgage payment of $2,000. Now, you're going, well, that's a 77% interest, and okay, fine. Remember, let's start today. 7% interest.
Yeah.
You're locked in, $2,000 a month. Let's say you're in, and now interest rates go up to 8 or 9%. Well, obviously you're not refinancing, right? And you're also grateful you got in at 7. But regardless, you can still afford the home because you're locked in at $2,000. So you got no problem here. On top of that, guess what your pay does? This right here.
Goes up.
Your pay goes up. So now it's becoming more and more affordable to be able to pay that same $2,000 month in and month out.
That's correct.
And then guess what else is happening? The third graph that's going up. How much value your home is increasing at the same time.
Yes.
So it is a win-win-win to lock in, now with a value that you can afford. So let's say you go, okay, you know what? I would really like to have this home, at this price, but I can only afford this home at this price. Fine.
Yeah.
Here's what you do then. You get in that home at this price, you get locked in, and you stay there until you're just absolutely forced, or you're in a financial position that you want to just move out of it.
Yeah.
The point is, you're still in a home, you're still earning the equity, you're still building up that value over the time, and you're still locked in an interest rate that we really honestly don't know. Again, the experts are only experts. And you know how it is in the stock market and in the financial sector. It's all voodoo.
That's right.
Half the people claim they know what they're talking about. The other half don't. And nobody's right at the end of the day. Or sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day. That type of mentality. So, don't let that be your main driver. On our last show that we had, we showed you what happened if we did this example. Okay, we said, okay, the market's spooky right now. If you were to buy a $250,000 home at 7% interest, but you said, you know what? I'm going to wait until next year at this time when interest rates go to 6%. Let's say at a magic ball. It's going to drop a full percentage.
That's right.
So what happened was there was a trade-off in your interest rate versus the value of the home. Because the value of the home is no longer $250,000. All of a sudden, now it's $260,000 or whatever it was. I don't forget the exact number, $275,000, whatever that final value was. And the amount of money you would have saved in the 1% difference from 7 to 6 was negligible. So it's not a deal where, you're waiting and waiting and waiting. And if that's the reason, mathematically, it doesn't work in your favor.
Right. It doesn't.
So if you are in that position, we're obviously not going to force you to do it. This is all something that you have to come up with on your mind. We can just tell you that you will not have a better investment, personal investment in your entire life than you will on home ownership. And unfortunately, it's just the facts.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And you're 44%.
44 times
wealthier than you are that of a renter.
Correct. Yeah. So in renter's world, you always lose because you're paying their mortgage, not yours. You're building up their equity, not yours. But I can understand in a pinch or given your current circumstances, maybe your credit isn't where it needs to be. Maybe you bought maybe you bought 2 new cars. And because of that, you're over leveraged on the debt situation. Those are certain circunstances where rent makes sense. So we're not, we're never going to bash renting in general because there are certain circumstances where that works. But those are all usually temporary. They're not long term.
Right.
So long term wise, again, you always want home ownership.
Well,
if you want to increase your value.
and I've also been encountering folks that feel that their credit just isn't where it should be. But unless you actually sit down and talk with a lender, you don't know.
Yeah, you'd
And
be
you
surprised.
Could be thinking, I can't do this. My credit is this. My credit is that. You might be surprised that you might be even closer to home ownership than what you think.
And we are finding out, because again, we have our finger on the pulse of everything. We
Yes.
talk to so many different people. Lenders, banks are coming up with fancy ways now
Yes, to help you.
of helping people to get them into homes, including
Yes.
like self-employed. There's these new programs they're
Yes.
they're devising because, things have slowed down, right?
Yeah.
So they have to get creative to get things moving.
That's right.
Because without things moving, what the bank does
Right.
doesn't do too well.
Right.
So it's in their best interest. Let's say they had I'm arbitrary. Let's say they had a profit margin of 10% for every home, sale that happened and everything when it was all said and done. And that's always been the way it was. And all of a sudden, this whole process comes to a screeching halt. You obviously know, just from logic, they're willing to take 9 or 8 or 7 or 6 or 5 or 4, anything to get things moving. So they will step down. They'll come up with new programs to try to get
Yes.
things motivated, get things moving. They might start with a minor tweak. If that doesn't get much, okay, let's go a little more. And they'll play with those numbers
Right.
to try to get something to happen until they can finally get where they're happy with the slight profit, at the same time get things moving.
That's
So
right.
so look for additional incentives, in other words, in this space, not only from banks, but even from builders.
Yes.
So the new home builds, they're sitting on inventory still that they have to move. So they've been offering crazy incentives like
Yes.
buying closing costs, I think it is,
Yeah.
paying closing costs, and some other things that they can do legally to get you into a home. So there are some deals to be made
Yes, there
in this
are.
environment that can actually kind of offset the fact that an interest rate is 7%. So again, something else to think about. So if you watch the media, don't let all the gloom and doom scare you away.
No, they do that on purpose.
Yeah, seriously. Remember, I worked in the news business for 12 years. I'm going to give you a little secret. You're not going to like it. Seriously, you will not like it. And this is what they trained us to do. Because remember, I'm on the weather side, right? You will talk down to a 3rd grade education level. So I want you to put that, you've got a kid in school, right? How old are they in 3rd grade? I want you to think about that and go, I'm being talked to just like that. And that to me is insulting as all get out. But that's the whole point. That news business isn't geared toward intelligence. It is not geared toward educated minds. It is not geared toward college degree, high school degree. It is geared toward children. So keep that in mind when you hear the gloom and doom and anything else on the news media. That is what it is. The attention getting, dopamine getting, and
Right.
Whatever's going to get the attention span of a child. And you know how hard that is, right? Once you start to realize that's what the news media is,
Yeah.
then that'll all make sense to you. So in the world of real estate, bottom line is when you hear all that kind of stuff, remember all that. We filter that garbage out because we don't care about that. What we care about is actual raw numbers and the experts in the field when they
Correct.
follow these trends. And a lot of times they will bash the media for their stupid headlines and they say, look at this chart. You guys are idiots. This is no way this is possible because of this. We'll have real discussions that we follow that makes obviously logical sense to us that we
Right.
can bring home to you. Okay, so that's it, man. We've gone a full
Yeah.
hour. This has been impressive.
Yeah.
But this is a big important one. The value of a
It
realtor
is.
is huge.
And how Team Tuttle can help you achieve what
Yeah.
you're looking for.
Yeah, so call, text, email, anytime. Numbers on the screen. Send us a DM.
That's right.
Drop a comment in any of the videos that we do.
Yeah, and
And-
tag someone that
Yeah.
could find this beneficial.
yeah, and again, if you know someone who is in a position that could benefit from a discussion with
Yes.
us, and it's just a discussion, it's just guidance.
Yeah.
It's free. I mean, think about it. There's not many things you can get in free. With me, you get 2.
Yes.
You get weather and you get real estate, advice.
That's right.
So, hey, use it, right?
Yeah.
You'd be foolish not to.
That's right.
Anytime I come across a situation where there's some free advice or yeah, I'm taking it. That works for me, so I'm with
right.
it. But I also respect the time and the value of the other person in providing that.
Yes.
So, it's like, for example, we have an attorney that we use for your immigration process because she's from Canada. And we want to make sure everything was done right. There weren't any red flags. There weren't any problems.
Yes.
So let's just hire an attorney. And we asked around, got a name of a great one, some Melissa Lujan. And she said, okay, don't worry. She's okay.
I know. He's
going to keep crying and whining. I want to hear that. So you.
Okay, I got her.
Okay. She's bothering me here. Trying to wrap this up. Those two have been like, how the rabbit joke, the whatever, when it comes to mating season, these two, I'm just like, I'm sick of it. I'm over it. But anyway, so the point is, like, I had asked her an email, a quick message over the next process on the green card position, where it's like a permanent green card, 10 years plus, whatever. And you know how attorneys are. They charge for the time. They charge for sneezing. So, and it was like, I know this is just a question, and I made it real short, simple, sweet, to the point. And she responded back a big, long paragraph. I mean, she went way more information than I even asked for. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know that took your time.
Yes.
I know how valuable that is, so I really appreciate it.
And she emailed back saying she was fine with what she said to us because she knows how much you give back to the community. And that was the least that she could do for us.
Right.
Yeah, because you're always giving your time because you're selfless, that she wanted to respond.
Yeah.
So
that was so cool. So I thanked her big time for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she's amazing.
All right.
Yes.
You ready to wrap it up?
Good, yes.
Okay.
I am.
Hey, well, thanks again for watching this interview.
Yeah.
This actually was an interview.
It was an interview.
Agree with each one of us.
Yeah. In fact, our public is interviewing us by watching this.
Yeah, we were kind of on an interview there. So, all right, enough of that nonsense. Okay, so I'm out of here. You're out of here. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're watching the replay at any point in time during the week, night, morning, doesn't matter.
That's right.
As always, appreciate you watching and sharing it with your friends and family. And at any time, reach out to us. We're here for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, take care. We'll see you on the next broadcast.
Bye, everybody.